I'm Tanaya, and I welcome you to this interesting fireside chat, a virtual fireside chat on the topic Working Together for Growth, the Indomitable Power of Community. We live in a time which is replete with I versus an you attitude. We keep on hearing about my community versus your community versus their community. We have chosen this topic for our discussion today, working together for growth, the indomitable power of community. With me today, I have a very esteemed guest, and it is my pleasure to welcome him on the show, in the session. May I please have him on screen? Yes, on the screen you are able to see Mr. Manoj. Mr. Patra has a lot of patents to his credit and name in the field of virtual machines and cloud computing. Welcome, Mr. Patra, in today's session.
And even animals to stay in groups, right? And then they mark their territorial boundaries and say this group works together, stays together, hunts together, eats together, and they essentially grow together. The division on the basis of certain bases is seen to be extremely can easily lead to conflict and clashes among people. You've seen that. As you said, religious views, political views, they tend to be a little more sensitive than others. So, while it is natural to have a sympathy towards a person who we identify as our community, a human being can belong to multiple communities that way at the same time, right? And on different forum or different fora, we identify ourselves with different communities. So,
Sure. And does scarcity or limited resources have a role to play in terms of people coming against each other?
that is very important point. So, what is observed generally is that people tend to share things when the sense of abundance is there in the back of their mind. When there are no resources that people are competing against, they're able to easily share. Whether within the same community, definitely yes. Many people have this hoarding mentality. When the resources are less, they try to stock more so as to tide over that period of low availability. So those who are little wise or mature in their thought, they realize that in general things that we need for our survival is plenty available in the world. We don't have to lead ourselves into a state of scare.
So, if you look at the very purpose of life, at its basic, it is one, existence, and two, growth. So, how do you think community and the togetherness it stands for supports these two aspects of our life, existence and growth?
If you want to pursue any subject in our life, right, we need a teacher or a master. And many people realize it's subconsciously. You go and enroll in different school. I want to learn some music. Okay, look for the best music school around. I want to learn guitar. Look for the best guitarist there that's enlisted in the school. Enroll in the class and do it. Whether it's driving, whether it's pursuing a hobby, we do that. When it comes to the skills of life, there are many realized souls. But from time to time, I believe very strongly that prophets who are complete realized souls in the form of a human being they incarnate. And it is little ironical that followers of such prophets, who himself, any prophet, would have been replete with love. They exude their love unconditionally, selflessly to every human being, every living being. Followers of such prophets, down the line, they confine themselves to a few principles so rigidly and strongly that they start looking at differences. And one more big aspect that we always see, they have infinite power to forgive people. The hardcore followers of that community, they don't, at the blink of the eye, they may say we want to ostracize this person and expel them from the community. Somebody has violated a principle and expelled from the community. But the prophets are so full of love and so forgiving, they are able to pick up those who are to be expelled, who are to be thrown out, who are downtrodden, and say, let's give them a new lease of life.